In January of 2007, in the city of Sacramento, California, a morning radio show was preparing for what it believed would be a harmless stunt. The kind of segment meant to generate laughter, phone calls, and attention. No one inside the studio believed they were about to become part of one of the most infamous tragedies in modern American broadcasting history. There was no violence involved, no criminal intent, no accident in the traditional sense. What followed began as entertainment. The radio station at the center of this story was KDND-FM, a popular station targeting young listeners. Their morning show was known for edgy humor and pushing boundaries. Ratings mattered. Shock value mattered. And on that day, the producers believed they had found a perfect idea. The prize was a Nintendo Wii. At the time, the Wii was nearly impossible to find in stores. Parents were searching everywhere for one. Lines stretched around buildings. For many families, it was a luxury item, offering one for free, guaranteed attention. The contest was given a playful name and presented as a joke. The rules were simple. Contestants would remain standing. At scheduled intervals, they were required to drink water. Anyone who used the restroom would be eliminated. The last person remaining would win the console. Inside the studio, laughter filled the air. The host joked with contestants. Listeners called in, amused by the concept. To most people, it sounded silly, not dangerous. Water seemed harmless. Standing didn't feel extreme. What no one emphasized and what no one professionally evaluated was the medical risk. There was no doctor present, no medical screening, no clear understanding of what excessive water intake could do to the human body. Among the contestants was Jennifer Strange, a 28-year-old mother of 3. She wasn't chasing fame or attention. She wanted to win something meaningful for her children. A Wii was something she couldn't easily afford, and the contest seemed like an opportunity. As the hours passed, Jennifer continued drinking water as instructed. At first, nothing seemed wrong, but slowly her condition began to change. She complained of nausea. She mentioned dizziness. She said she felt unwell. These were warning signs. In medical terms, these symptoms are red flags, early indicators that the body is losing its ability to regulate fluid balance. But inside the studio, those warnings were not taken seriously. The hosts laughed them off. Comments were made suggesting she was simply uncomfortable, nothing more. At one point during the broadcast, listeners called the station to warn them. Some explicitly stated that consuming excessive water could be dangerous, even fatal. These calls went live on air. They were heard by the hosts, by the audience, and by the production team. The contest continued anyway. Jennifer pushed forward, despite feeling worse. She did not win the contest. Eventually, she left the station and returned home. That should have been the end of the story. It wasn't. Shortly after arriving home, Jennifer's headache intensified. The pain became unbearable. She collapsed. Emergency services were called, but the damage had already been done. She was transported to the hospital, where doctors attempted to stabilize her. Within hours, Jennifer Strange was pronounced dead. The autopsy revealed the cause: water intoxication, medically known as hyponatremia. Her sodium levels had dropped to critically low levels due to excessive water intake in a short period of time. This caused her brain to swell. The pressure became fatal. This condition is rare, but it is well documented in medical literature. Athletes, military trainees, and endurance participants have died from it before. The danger isn't dehydration, it's dilution. Too much water disrupts the body's chemical balance. The shock that followed was nationwide. How could a radio contest kill someone? Public outrage grew rapidly. The station was immediately criticized for negligence. Broadcast recordings were reviewed. Every joke, every dismissive comment, every ignored warning became evidence of a catastrophic failure in responsibility. The morning show was taken off the air. The hosts were fired. The station issued public apologies, but the damage was irreversible. Jennifer's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit. During court proceedings, expert witnesses explained how preventable the tragedy had been. Medical professionals testified that the symptoms Jennifer reported should have immediately ended the contest. Broadcast ethics experts highlighted the station's duty of care toward participants. Eventually, the case was settled. The station agreed to pay millions of dollars in damages to Jennifer's family, but the impact went far beyond one lawsuit. The incident triggered widespread discussion about media responsibility. Radio and television stations across the United States re-examined their contest rules. New guidelines were introduced. High-risk stunts were restricted. Legal departments became more involved in approving on-air challenges. All of this happened after a life was lost. Jennifer Strange's death remains a haunting reminder of how easily entertainment can cross into danger when accountability disappears. It wasn't cruelty that caused this tragedy. It wasn't malice. It was ignorance, pressure for ratings, and a complete lack of professional oversight. A contest meant to make people laugh ended a life. And perhaps the most unsettling part of this story is how ordinary it all seemed at the beginning. No alarms, no obvious threats, just a microphone, a prize, and a rule that no one questioned until it was too late. This case is now taught in journalism and broadcasting ethics courses, not as a horror story, but as a lesson about responsibility, about understanding risk, and about remembering that behind every contest, every joke, and every broadcast, there are real human lives involved.